Hello there and welcome back. In this video, we're going to go ahead and get slap comping. So let's hop right in. All right, so we have our footage here and we're just going to do a very quick slap of this. So the first thing we need to do is make a tracker and we will track our marker over here. And let's go forward. Go back. And we can just double check really quick that everything is sticking with our favorite stabilize. We shouldn't ignore checking our tracks just because we're slap comping this, especially for easy tracks. If it's pretty straightforward, we may as well check our work. And that is pretty solid. Let's see. Might be a little side-to-side wiggle in this lower one, but I don't think it's going to be a problem since we're not directly connected to our background. So we're going to call this track good. So let's make a match move. We'll attach that to our video. Let's go ahead and make sure that our video is the same resolution with a reformat node. And we'll just make it so we're not resizing this. Excellent. And let's grab a key light node and do a very quick key. We'll pipe in our key light source to our footage and we'll go ahead and use our color picker. We'll hit Control and then hit Control and Alt to select an area to key from. We're trying to get rid of as much of that white as we can, and I think something like this will end up working pretty well. Again, this is just a slap. The goal is to get 80% of the way there very quickly. I've got this slapped over. We can go ahead and just contrast up our alpha here. Again, it's a slap, so it's fine that we're kind of cheating this. So we'll play this really quick. So I think I would like to see some more balloons. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this image by using the flip button here. Oh, sorry. I'm going to flop this image horizontally. There we go. I just wanted a couple more balloons in here. But I don't necessarily want these people. So I think I'm going to go ahead and scale this up some. And our camera is about chin height again, and it's not really tilted too much that we can tell. So I'm trying to get the horizon at about chin or shoulder height to get that to look a little better. So I'll move that up some there. I still don't really like that these people are in here. There's probably a delicate balance that we can find. I'm wondering if later in this clip they end up walking further down. And so what I'm going to do is first I'm going to add a retime node and I'm going to make this 3 times faster so that it's not in slow motion. Let's just check that on its own here. Okay, that's looking better. We're introducing a little too much motion blur, so I'm just going to turn this shutter off to 0. And what the shutter is doing is saying, how many frames do you want me to blend together to create a pseudo motion blur effect? But since that shutter is based on frame blending and not actual motion vectors and motion movement, it feels a little artificial, so I'm going to leave it at 0. Cool, now that that's retimed, let's go ahead and see if we can time offset this to have the minimal amount of these characters in here. Going to time offset this to get them as out of frame as possible before we run out of frames. And an additional bonus to this is we're going to catch that nice little flame that we saw earlier. All right, we're going to go to the last possible frame, and there it is. So now let's take a look at this. Cool, so I think this is working. Let's go ahead and we're calculating a lot of unnecessary information out here. Go ahead and add a crop just to make sure this is going as fast as possible. And the crop node will just lop off any excess areas of our bounding box that are going outside of the format so we can calculate a little bit faster. And let's color correct our background. We're just going to rough it in and see what it ends up looking like. So I think first I want to make this much brighter because it feels a little too dark in there. And I think we're going to need to warm this up. Now, we could click on this wheel and start messing with these tiny sliders over here in order to change the coolness or warmness of it, give it a little more magenta or green. But instead, I'll just undo those. You can control click on this color wheel and all of these options will appear. You can select what exactly you would like to see. I like having all of these on so we have the maximum range of options. But now we can make these as big as we want for nice fine-tuned adjustments. And you'll see right here that this is updating as we shift these around. So let's go ahead and tweak this a bit. My general workflow is to adjust the colors with the TMI sliders and then to change the brightness or darkness with this value slider here, because then we're not increasing or decreasing our saturation. So let's check this out. So I think that's looking good. Maybe we went a little bit too warm, so I'm going to take the warmth saturation down here a little. There we go. I think that's feeling a lot better. And now what we need to do is add some defocus to our background here. We can check this. This doesn't look too defocused, but I know from the set this was actually very close to our actor here. And so I think we can take it a little further than we have practically done. So let's go ahead and blur this out. We'll go a little further. And let's give this a little bit of an anamorphic look. So change that to 0.5, and that will make some more elliptical bokeh. But you'll notice on the edges here now, we're getting a little bit of a dark line, and that's because of our crop. Our crop is adding a single pixel of black on the outside here, and that's getting blurred in with everything. So we should change this order quick. We'll put our defocus on and then throw a crop underneath it, and you'll see that black edge is now gone. Let's go ahead and play this and see what we have for a slap comp. All right, now that we have our slap rendered, let's see if there's anything more we need to do to this. I do wish that these balloons here were a little more frame left, and so let's go ahead and scoot those over a bit. Grab our transform and just move it in X a little bit, because I do like having these three balloons. But you can see we have a little bit of a dark edge there, so there's a couple things we could do. We could just scale it up slightly. This is probably the easiest way to tackle it. We could split our clip onto the left and right side of our actor's face here if we really wanted to keep moving these left. But I think this is looking pretty good, so I'm just going to stick with this scale adjustment. For the sake of just seeing it, let's also go ahead and stencil out our shape here. I'm going to copy and paste our match move, put a roto in here, and just give a quick little stencil here. And there was also one at the bottom, so we'll just draw a little bit of a bigger shape, and we'll blur these for good measure. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's never a good idea to have a matte in any comp without some sort of softening, just on the off chance that something doesn't work quite as you expected, because then the soft matte could help blend any small mistakes. So we'll go ahead and get this previewing to see what it looks like. Great, now we have our slap. We have all the pieces assembled here, and now we can take a little bit closer look at analyzing what we're going to need to do. So obviously this key is very tempy, and we're going to need to clean that up a little bit. I think we're going to have to add a little bit of a lighting effect around the edges of our actor because it doesn't quite feel like he's being lit from the front. As you can tell, it's very noisy on our actor here and also in our background, so we're going to need to denoise those. And there may be some minor color adjustments that we're going to need to do to this background once we get despilling, because this may be a little too warm, but this gets the idea across. And when we shifted that background balloon to the left a little bit, that's going to end up drastically affecting our key and how we're going to refine those edges. And that's one of the main reasons you do these slaps, so you can get everything placed exactly where you like it, and then you can really hone in and nail those tiny, tiny details. I'm also noticing here that tracking marker is poked in, and I bet it's because I didn't uncheck my format here. So just remove the format, and now that's gone. We can see our bounding box is a little too large, so we'll change this stencil to grab our key or bounding box. There we go. All right, this is now previewed. Our tracking marker is gone, and I think that's looking pretty good. While we're in here, let's go ahead and start denoising our elements because they're looking very noisy. I'm going to use reduce noise again. It really is just the best denoising plugin that exists. Again, I will be supplying the denoised version of these files in case you cannot use reduce noise. Change that radius to 5 so it really gets rid of that noise. We'll make it adapt to more grain. I think this will work to get rid of a lot of our noise. Same as in here. Let's go ahead and make a reduce noise really quick. We'll hit auto profile, 81%, pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and write these out, and we'll drop them in and start using them in the next video. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.